Well, hello again. I have some very important news for you. A scientific smoking gun that shows or indicates design in nature. Now, I have done another video of this, scientific arguments against atheism. But these are two recent discoveries that point to design in nature. And if there's a design in nature, then there has to be intelligence behind it. Now, here's the first one. This is from the Science Daily, an internet science website on October 5th, 2015. Now, here's what they say. Ancient alga knew how to survive on land before it left water and evolved into the first plants. Now, alga was plant life that lived in the oceans, okay? And somehow maybe the waves knocked it onto land. And for a long time, scientists could not figure out how it could adapt to land so easily. Well, it turns out that they have found out that the genes to survive on land were already in the alga. Now, how could that be? How could that? There can't be natural selection because they never lived on land. But once they were on land, the genes for to survive on land were there, and it was able to survive on land. And now all the greenery, everything you see, life on land began then, which indicates a design in nature. Because how could the genes be there to survive on land before it was ever on land? Okay? Now, the next one. Okay, I hope that was clear. Now, the second one comes from Yahoo Finance. I don't know why they would have that, but, and that's from January 14th, 2016. Okay? Two recent findings from the CERN, that's the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Two findings that they found are threatening the end of physics. You see, after the Big Bang, now this is getting quantum physics, I'm going to try to make this as easy to understand. After the Big Bang, there was no matter, it was just subatomic particles floating around, and they had to pass through, according to CERN, a field called the Higgs field, all right? Now, this is right after the Big Bang. Now, as subatomic particles swim through what is called the Higgs field, all right, they gain mass. Mass is anything that has weight, which eventually became protons, neutrons, and electrons, which comprise the atom. And the atom is everything that makes us up, okay? Everything that we see and touch is made up of atoms, okay? Now, they have to pass through this Higgs field before they can do that. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. According to the scientists, there's a valve that regulates the Higgs field, okay? It's like an on and off switch where you can, turn the light all the way up or all the way down. Why? Right? Now, here's the thing about what they have determined. Even though there's a valve there which has potential energy, if it was slightly different than what it is now, or at the time of after the Big Bang, if it was slightly different, the universe could not exist. Now dig this. This Higgs field, all right? These subatomic particles are passing through it, which they gain mass. Now, if it was slightly more, it would be too much mass and the universe would condense into a black hole. Or if it was too little, the mass wouldn't have formed. So it had to be exactly right. Now, how did it know to do that? That, again, shows design in nature. Who set that valve? Now, here's another one. Dark energy, all right? The energy of empty space. Now, the universe, as far as the calculations are concerned, flying apart, okay? It's expanding. Now, the expansion, again, has a valve, and it's exactly the right amount, okay? If it was any stronger, the universe would just fly apart, everything would split apart, and it would disappear. It would just evaporate, and it would have evaporated right from the beginning. But right from the beginning, it had exactly the right energy, okay? Now, what is the explanation for scientists for that? They talk about a multi-universe thing here, where there's trillions and trillions of universes with different variables on their valves, okay? And we happen to be the one that was just right for life to, and matter and the universe to evolve. But there's no proof or evidence at all of a multi-universe. So far, we have one universe where everything just worked out right for life and us to evolve. So what are the odds of one throw of the dice, and here we are? Okay? Now, I'm going to attach my other video on there on scientific arguments against atheism, which I go over some other stuff from history in the background to give you a full knowledge of what's going on. Okay? And here it is. Does God exist? This is a question humanity has struggled with for thousands of years. Upon weighing the current scientific evidence, we are left with just two choices. Either the universe was designed and created, or mindless random events over billions of years evolved this universe. Now, first of all, this is purely a scientific and philosophical analysis. So for now, put out of your mind any images of an old man with a beard living in the clouds or any religion. Okay? So what clues has science given us? Well, first of all, current scientific theory says that the universe had a beginning. This is significant because at one time it did not exist, then it burst into existence. And this was called the Big Bang. From the Big Bang, we had subatomic particles, then gravity kicked in and pushed the subatomicals together, and then we have atoms. Okay, let's start off with the atom, which all matter, everything that we see and touch is made out of. Now, the inner world of the atom is much more mysterious than any Hollywood movie could ever conceive of. Scientists were astonished to discover that subatomic particles can be in two places at the same time. The same one, they're in two places at the same time. And we have what is called entanglement. Now this is wild, you can look this up. This is wild. Somehow scientists have figured that if you separate two subatomic particles and put them on the opposite ends of the universe, they somehow would be connected to each other. And if something happened to one, it would happen to the other on the opposite ends of the universe. So think about that for a moment. Somehow, everything in the universe is connected. And what if this happened in our world? Some of these mysterious abilities. Well, that would be called voodoo, magic, spirituality, God, miracles, or whatever. But this actually happens in nature by particles that make up atoms that make us up. And what if it's possible to tap into that subatomic world, that quantum world? And what if it has been tapped into in the past? Einstein, all his life, tried to find a unifying theory that would explain the difference between the macro, which is everything that we see, us, and the micro, the inner world of the nuclear atom. Now, what I find most interesting is that the macro is made up of the micro, this metaphysical subatomic world. After the Big Bang, the Newtonian laws of physics were set. The speed of light coming from that moon and the strength of gravity that keeps it in orbit. Odds of one roll of the dice and we have the perfect universe for life to exist. Now, there are other theories behind this all. There's a multiple universe theory where there's millions of universes and we happen to be the lucky one. Or there's string theory, there's 5 different versions. But there is as much evidence of these as there are of the old man in the sky with the beard. None. In fact, the evidence supports that there was a design in creation. There are also flaws in Darwin's theory of evolution. Yes, there's evidence of change and evolution within a species, but very little of the in-between species. The difference between this and the duck. What's in between? Don't know. Is that there are millions of fossils throughout the world. So if it was a slow, gradual process, there should be ample fossil evidence of the in-between species. But there is not. In fact, the evidence shows great leaps in the history of evolution, such as multi-celled organisms, wings, eyes, and intelligence. These suddenly appeared on the scene. Why is that? So the evidence shows that during the evolutionary history of humans and life, there has been some kind of intervention. As we are conscious of ourselves, could not consciousness be attributed to the universe itself? Could the universe be conscious of itself? Because I'll tell you, if there's no intelligent consciousness behind this all, then we are all doomed. Okay? The sun will one day run out of fuel and explode and blow the whole earth to a crisp. If we are here for a bunch of lucky breaks, our luck will run out. But what if we are part of the great design? Then the earth is just a womb where life can develop and leave its nest and populate the universe. Science has determined that water is abundant everywhere in the universe. There's an infinite supply of energy and everything needed to sustain life. But to achieve this requires long-range planning beyond the normal lifespan. All life has 2 driving forces: to survive and to reproduce, in effect to attain immortality. If life is to survive beyond this mortal earth, it must find a way to leave. This is our purpose. This gives meaning to our lives. This is something that can unite us all. For what is the purpose of the beautiful splendor of the universe without conscious beings to witness it?